we'd like to issue a vital and brutally honest message to some big-name players.
Travis Kelce. Let me tell you, he's been a guest on this show before. Got mad love for him. Let me be very, very clear. It's time.
With all due respect, I think it's time for these 10 NFL players to stop displaying a best-before-date version of themselves and retire. Travis Kelce. Kelce's decision to continue playing after the Kansas City Chiefs loss in Super Bowl 59 surprised nobody. But it would be a surprise if he decided to continue playing beyond this year. Kelce has been on the decline for 3 whole years now. He has not been his all-pro self since 2022. Kelce knows he's no longer striking fear into the hearts of his opponents. And in case you somehow didn't hear, Kelce and Taylor Swift also have a big wedding to plan. So, I mean, with 3 Super Bowl rings and a spot in the Hall of Fame all but assured, Kelce is just better off walking away now instead of going out there for another year and reminding everyone that he is a shell of his former self. Russell Wilson. 3 teams in 3 years. Benched in the middle of the season in 2 of them. Yeah, I think it's more than time for Wilson to call it in. Wilson had a chance to revive his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 following his release from the Denver Broncos. He imploded late in the season as the Steelers coughed up the AFC North before getting crushed by the Baltimore Ravens in the wildcard round. The New York Giants signed Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency before trading up to snag Ole Miss QB Jackson Dart. After a humiliating performance against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 3, a loss on Sunday Night Football, the Giants saw enough and decided to bench him for Dart. Indeed, the Giants' offense improved significantly under Dart. Even with Malik Neighbors and Cam Scadaboo suffering season-ending injuries, Dart's toughness and resilience kept his lousy football team in games, something that Wilson just couldn't do. The Broncos and Steelers couldn't wait to get rid of Wilson. Giants won't even consider the idea of bringing him back. He has been washed up for a while and clearly has nothing more to offer. Wilson is much better off retiring gracefully than collecting more unnecessary paychecks to hold a clipboard. DeAndre Hopkins. Over the past decade or so, few big-name wide receivers have fallen off as quickly as DeAndre Hopkins. And as one of the NFL's ultimate good guys and non-diva wide receivers, it's hard not to feel bad for him. But unfortunately, age and injuries have really taken a toll on him. He has not been a Pro Bowler since 2020. He's reached the 1,000-yard mark once since 2021. A brief stint in Kansas City and a trip to the Super Bowl last year just couldn't revive his career. The Baltimore Ravens took a flyer on D-Hop with the hope that he could give Lamar Jackson another playmaking weapon. Instead, Hopkins turned in the least productive season of his career. The guy even had a few games where he didn't log a single catch. If Hopkins couldn't fix his career with Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, who's to think that he'll defy Father Time and return to a Pro Bowl caliber level in 2026? Hopkins just has to accept that all good things must come to an end. With that, just hang up the cleats. Harrison Smith. Smith has been the heart and soul of the Vikings defense for more than a decade. And you know, it's admirable that he's managed to play 14 seasons at safety, a position where most guys tend to decline once they enter their 30s. After the Vikings' surprise 14-win season in 2024, it made sense for Smith to return for another crack at the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, another strong year by Brian Flores' defense went to waste because of the problems at quarterback. J.J. McCarthy's first season as a starter was wasted by injuries and inconsistent production. Backup signal caller Carson Wentz suffered a season-ending shoulder injury. Third stringer Max Brosmer, well, I mean, he tried his best. As good as Minnesota's defense was in 2025, however, Smith was not a key reason as to why. By all advanced metrics, he was one of the league's worst safeties in coverage. Easily the worst season of his career, which isn't surprising because of his age. Smith also experienced a considerable decrease in playing time due to his limited skill set at this phase of his career. The Vikings have no reason to bring him back, and Smith might wish to retire as a career Viking anyway. Brandin Cooks. The well-traveled Cooks will go down as one of the most underrated players of his era, with 6 1,000-yard seasons on 4 different teams. But Cooks' last 1,000-yard season was way back when in 2021. Not only has Cooks been past his prime for a while, but he hasn't even been a suitable number 2 receiver since leaving Houston either. His 2 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys did not net the expected results. His short-lived return to New Orleans also flopped. Now he's basically a forgotten commodity on the Buffalo Bills. Cooks is essentially a practice squad player at this phase of his career. He relied entirely on his speed to make explosive plays, but those days are now long gone. There is very little reason for Cooks to continue playing after this season, unless he wants to remind everyone that he's a shell of his former self. Nick Chubb. It's difficult not to feel for Chubb, who was easily a top 5 running back during his first 5 seasons. But that horrific knee injury Chubb suffered in Week 2 of the 2023 season against the Pittsburgh Steelers kinda ended his shot at the Hall of Fame. It also marked the unfortunate end of his prime. The Cleveland Browns moved on from Chubb after the 2024 season, which kind of worked out thanks to the emergence of Quinshon Judkins. Chubb attempted to revive his career with the Houston Texans, who lost Pro Bowler Joe Mixon for the entire season. But Chubb clearly does not have that same burst or game-changing ability. His age, career mileage, and said 2023 knee injury have really slowed him down. He lost his RB1 duties to Woody Marks, who really stepped up to his game on a Houston offense hit hard by the injury bug. The love of football and the extra money may tempt Chubb to keep playing, but is it really worth it? His body has taken enough of a beating. He is well past his best before date, so we see no reason for him to continue playing. Don't be surprised if this is the end of the line for the former Browns star. Lavonte David. David will go down as one of the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneers players ever. No question about it. He had played up to a super strong level through his first 13 seasons, displaying incredible consistency and longevity. But David's body has really started to give in this year. 14 NFL seasons as a hard-hitting linebacker will do that to you. It's just part of getting old as a football player. The Bucs aren't Super Bowl contenders anymore, and David's play has regressed considerably. GM Jason Light has a thing for clinging to veterans who helped his team win Super Bowl 50, but that was also 5 years ago now. David has lost his athleticism and speed that made him a dynamic workhorse and a leader on the Tampa defense. Of course, it doesn't help that his supporting cast on defense has also gotten a lot worse. Regardless, it's the right time for David to call it quits and move on to the next phase of his life. The Bucs have to start rebuilding the defense, and keeping David only delays the inevitable. As a lifelong Buccaneer, he'd do this team an excellent service by hanging up the cleats. Darius Slay. The 6-time Pro Bowler has had a phenomenal career that could very well land him in the Hall of Fame. He finally reached the mountaintop when his Philadelphia Eagles took down the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. After he was released by the Eagles, Slay stayed local and signed with the Steelers. Because if there's one thing we learned in 2025, it's that the Steelers love signing players who were at the top of their game 5 years ago. Slay had a woeful 10-game stint with the Steelers, however. He allowed a 75% completion percentage and a 108.0 passer rating when targeted during his tenure with the Black and Yellow. After getting waived by the Steelers, Slay was picked up by the Buffalo Bills. However, Slay refused to join the team, with his camp stating that he was considering his future in football. With that in mind, I think retirement is clearly the best option for Slay. He's no longer a Pro Bowl caliber playmaker. He is a liability and has nothing else to prove or play for. It's been a great journey, but I think it's time for Slay to ride off into the sunset. Geno Smith. Life sure comes at you fast in the NFL. I mean, just 3 years ago, he had a career year at the age of 32. Smith won Comeback Player of the Year honors and led the Seattle Seahawks to a surprise playoff appearance. A year later, Smith earned his second consecutive Pro Bowl selection. The following year, he threw for a career-high 4,320 passing yards. So, believing that he was still a high-quality starter, the Las Vegas Raiders acquired Smith in a 2025 blockbuster trade and handed him a 2-year contract extension. A reunion with Pete Carroll was supposed to help Smith sustain his Pro Bowl-like play, especially with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty as his main weapons. But of course, well, things don't always go to plan in the NFL. Smith is playing like the sloppy QB that we saw with the New York Jets. You know, who had finally had enough and benched him for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Smith has just been a liability for the Raiders, and they have a very easy decision to move on from him after this season. And believe us, there is not another team that'll target Smith as their starting QB next year. So, yeah, Smith better take the hint and retire when he is let go by the Raiders. Jalen Ramsey. Once upon a time, it was all too easy to make a case that Jalen Ramsey was the best cornerback in the game. Certainly, the argument was strong during his days with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Los Angeles Rams. Those days are long gone. Ramsey, like New York Jets legend Darrelle Revis, has seen his play decline rapidly since turning 30. His last season with the Miami Dolphins was a clear indicator that Father Time had arrived. 2025 season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, even worse. I mean, he went from elite shutdown corner to one of the league's worst. He's been lit up in coverage time and time again. There is clearly nothing left in the tank. A spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is assured for Ramsey. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl ring too. Doesn't retiring sound a whole lot better than letting young studs run circles around you? But hey, which other NFL players are past their primes and need to retire as soon as possible? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.